After a couple of days filled with drama and surprises last month in Manchester, the eChampions League field has been whittled down to the final 8. And today we're going to spotlight these 8 players who are vying for what will become one of the most coveted trophies in all of esports, as they make history as the first ever eChampions League winner. So join us as we break it all down as the eChampions League preview show starts now.
Welcome everyone to the eChampions League preview show. I'm Jimmy Conrad alongside 2 of my favorite people, Dan Gaskin and Mike Labelle. Now we're going to break down everything that you need to know about the players and the matchups for this very special event that's going down in Madrid next week. Now Dan, hype level, 0 to a 10? What are you saying?
I don't know about 0 to 10, maybe like 3,000. Like,
whoa.
This event is going to be crazy. Like in Manchester, what it meant to these players to qualify, to go to the Champions League, they got a ticket to go to the Champions League finals. They could potentially lift a trophy on the Champions League pitch. I mean, that's insane.
That is pretty sweet. Mike, how you feeling?
We'll get the Andre Dan Gaskin 3000. Tough to top that. It's a 10 out of 10. Come on. We got the money, you got the status, you got the prestige. Everything is here.
Now, what I find to be extremely exciting is that a lot of the big names have been knocked out. So let's take a look at the bracket, you guys, to refresh your memories about who is actually playing in these last final 8. Because these big names that are out, it's going to have somebody new, a name maybe we don't talk about as much. And I think any of these 8 players can win it.
I think they can, and really just looking at the matchups that are available, I mean, Levin versus Marcuzo, that's the one that screams at me as 2 giants going up against
That's your favorite matchup?
100% my favorite matchup.
Okay, and Mike, how about you?
I don't even want to talk about the big names that are out. I want to talk about the big names that are in.
Okay.
All 8 of these guys have been putting on a show all year long. Maybe they don't get the credit they deserve, but today can be their day. Matchup-wise, I'm kind of pumped for, maybe I'm going to say the have-nots. Where we got Nightwatch versus Alan Avi. People did not predict them to be in this position, so congrats to them. They're there. They're matched up against each other. Woo!
All right, I like it. I like your energy today, Mike.
I'm good to go.
It's going well with your hair, the flow. It's all going. All right, now let's talk about the squad rules, because there are some interesting wrinkles. Dan, take it away.
Yeah, it's not your usual FIFA 19 Global Series rules, but it's different and it's amazing because it's going to be slightly different on how you build that squad. You've got to have 23 players that you draft. There's exactly 3 UEFA Champions League foot items you need to have in your team, and also 3 icons on the pitch at all times as well. So we're going to need to see what icons are these players going to be using, what Champions League items they're going to be using. It's going to be different. It's going to be great.
It is going to be different, and it is going to be great, but it's not like these cards are any slouches. I mean, these are still excellent players. All right, now let's talk about the prize pool, Mike. There's a lot of money at stake here.
Money, money, money! I mean, all these guys have solidified themselves. They've guaranteed $15,000 in the bank, which is amazing for a top 8 placement. But then $30,000 for 3rd and 4th place. 2nd place, $60,000. That's not a bad 2nd place prize. And then $100K for 1st place. I mean, this is life-changing money. Season-changing money.
That's a lot of cheddar.
To go with the status, to go with running out there with a trophy in your hand. Come on.
What I found very interesting, and unlike any other tournament that we've done together, is that in Manchester, it just felt like the players, it didn't matter about the money. It didn't matter about the Global Series points. It just mattered to be a part of the Champions League, to get to Madrid for the final, and to potentially walk out on that field.
It's amazing. Like, honestly, it's something that money can't buy, I think is the best way to put it. We would love to be there. The players have a chance that they can tell their grandkids about their grandkids' grandkids. It's going to be awesome.
All right, let's take a look now at the first matchup. 2 familiar names, ones that we've already talked about, Joksan and Zezinho. Now, Mike, in particular, tell me about what makes Joksan so special.
Joksan's mental stability is something that doesn't get credited enough. And early on in the year, he showed that he had adjusted to the meta ahead of other players. People started to catch up, and now he's back in full force, trying to remind people, hey, I'm the top American. Not only am I one of the tops, or that I'm the top American, but also I can be the best in the world. We've seen him win a tournament earlier with the Paris event, the Continental Cup.
That's right.
So why not do this at the eChampions League?
Okay, Dan, tell us what he did back in Manchester.
I mean, he did something that not many people can do. He beat MS Dasari during Manchester to get here. He beat him 5-2 as well. It wasn't just like he scraped through. He absolutely dominated that game. And Joksan is looking like the same Joksan we saw at the start of the tournament.
Okay, so that's talking about a North American. Let's talk about a South American, and it's not Nicolas. It's Zezinho. He's the only representative from that continent, from Brazil. Mike, talk to us about him and what makes him so special.
He has that Brazilian trait, that Brazilian flair, a little bit of something. He's got the skill moves, the intricacies. He's got a lot of, I want to say sauce almost, with his gameplay, and he scores a lot of goals. If this becomes a high-scoring affair, you think it's got to favor Zezinho.
All right, and then how did he do in Manchester, Dan?
Well, you remember Footwiz Tom, who just won the Bucharest PS4 side of things? Well, he lost to Zezinho at Manchester. Zezinho took him down to qualify for this tournament. Only one loss in Manchester as well. He kind of silently went through the field. We didn't expect him to do what he did, and I am so impressed with how he's performed.
Okay, well, you've heard from us about Zezinho. Let's hear from the man himself. Check this out.
I knew that I couldn't feel the pressure, so I needed to play as well as I played the first 4 rounds, and then I would win. The ECL tournament becomes one of the most important of the season.
This comes down to 90 minutes now of in-game action between these two. Zezinho versus Footwiz Tom.
In the first match, I was really confident against them. In the second match, I didn't start very well, but in the second half, I got confidence back again and scored 3 goals.
Make it 2, Eusebio! And Zezinho!
I felt amazing when I knew I was qualified for top 8.
He knows right now that he is one of the 8 who will be going to Madrid. Congratulations to Zezinho.
The top 4 seed players couldn't do it, but maybe someone else can. Every player that comes here have a chance to win it.
So, fun fact for you. I took a cab with Zezinho in Manchester from the airport to the hotel, and he's so cool, calm, and collected. And when I see him here in this interview, he's so humble. And I just wanted to puff out his chest, be a little arrogant. He's the only representative from South America. Get after it.
I mean, a lot of these players aren't used to maybe being in the spotlight, being the best players around. We don't have Tex, we don't have Desari. Now these are the biggest players. They're in the final 8, so maybe they should just kind of puff their chest out a bit.
I think they should. I think they should. If they need me to be their hype man, I'm for hire. That's what I'm saying. All right, now before we get into our next matchup, RaFsOu versus NYC Chris, let's talk about Global Series points. And there's a lot at stake here, Dan.
There is a lot at stake. For the majority of players, they're already in the top 16 of the Global Series rankings. However, for those who are slightly lower down, Nightwatch and Alan Arvey, the potential to get the extra points to get into that 3rd and 4th spot for 315 is huge. I mean, Alan Arvey, his whole season could ride on this victory against Nightwatch, or this loss against Nightwatch. If he loses, he might not get to playoffs. That is potentially the biggest match of his season.
So lots of points at stake, lots of money at stake, and a life-changing experience at stake. It's crazy. I love it. I love the eChampions League. Now let's talk about the next matchup, RaFsOu versus NYC Chris. This one in particular is quite interesting because RaFsOu lost to his brother, by the way, in Manchester, but found a way to fight through it, gets into the knockout rounds, the final 8, and he beat Maestro along the way. And Maestro, for me, was one of the favorites. I thought for sure he was going to be one of these final 8, but he beat him 7-0. It wasn't even like it was close.
I think that's the big point. It wasn't just an easy game. It wasn't a tough game. It was a 7-0 victory. You can see his record there. He was scoring plenty of goals. He looks confident. He looks comfortable in his own skin. He's struggled throughout the season. We've been kind of umming and ahhing. Is he going to perform? He's finally showed what he's made of, and I'm excited to see what he does in the last 8.
Do you think losing to his brother maybe gave him a little bit more of an edge because he wanted to prove himself a little bit more?
100%. I mean, I know if I had lost to my brother in tournaments, I'd had to go on and outplace him, and he did just that because Mentz didn't get to the last 8.
It's an older brother thing.
Yeah,
sure, 100% an older brother thing. All right, now let's talk about NYC Chris. Now, he has a bit of a reputation of being a nearly man, nearly getting to the finish line, but never getting there. But in Manchester, he seemed to have broken that a little bit.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride is what everyone was kind of painting for NYC Chris. However, this could be a definitive point in his career, a real turning point for him. Ever since he qualified for this tournament, he's looked like a different player. He's comfortable playing the ball around. He doesn't throw away games. And I think now in this last 8, he could push on top 4, maybe even the final.
Confidence is an incredible thing. And speaking of confidence, let's throw it over to one of the most confident people I know, Mike Labelle.
Thanks, Jimmy. I don't know about most confident people he knows. Jimmy knows a lot of people. But we are going to start off with this Chris versus RaFsOu matchup. And we're looking at Chris's gameplay. We're going to talk about how he's able to unlock the midfield, because this is crucial in the FIFA competitive scene, is being able to get the ball in this area of the pitch. This is going to be your bread and butter, so to speak, because it gives you options. It makes it where your opposition has to take some risk. He has to take some gambles. So you want to figure out a way to get through the midfield in order to pressure your opposition a little bit. And you see that with Chris here using Neymar, turning back and forth, looking for an angle. And what he's trying to do is pull one of these three players out of position, where that gap is going to be created, and it's going to allow him to have easier offense, 1-2s, intricate play, all the good things that we like to see in FIFA, and that's exactly what happens. Neymar gets through, Ruud Gullit, classic little 1-2 Mbappe, Ronaldo back to Mbappe, near post finish. It's beautiful. We all appreciate it. We love it. And then when you're looking at RaFsOu, I want to bring up the importance of icons and choosing the right players for you. We've talked about how in this tournament in particular, you're only going to get 3 icons in the team. And the obvious 3 icons that I'm assuming most players are going to use are 9, Ruud Gullit, Patrick Vieira. But RaFsOu, he's passionate about Eusebio. He talks about him, he puts him on his own little tier, so to speak, with icons. And that's what you're going to see here with Eusebio. He's going to cut back, and we're going to have a lovely finish. And something that makes Eusebio so special is that he's able to shoot with both feet from anywhere on the pitch, and it gives you something a little bit extra. And when you're limited to only having 3 guys that are going to necessarily have that icon vibe, that icon feel, you got to make sure you choose correctly. And I would be shocked if RaFsOu does not use Eusebio and leave off one of the other big 3. I'm not sure that Jimmy would make the big 3 icons, but I'd still put him as an icon and figure. Back to you.
Well, hopefully from your lips to EA's ears, because I would love an icon card. I think I shouldn't have. You know what? Let's just move on to the next matchup, because I'm going to be crying here when you guys take a look at this graphic. It's Marcuzo versus Levin. Now, this is the matchup that was the most intriguing to you, Dan. Let's talk about Marcuzo first.
I'm so excited for this matchup, and particularly excited for Marcuzo. I mean, to get here, he took down Nicholas 4-3, and that is no easy feat. If you don't know who Nicholas is, he's #1 on the PlayStation rankings, and the fact that Marcuzo's shown now that he can beat those kind of players really demonstrates he's not just a cricketer king. Yes, okay, he has that in his arsenal, but he's got everything else now to boot. He can hold on to the ball, he can play possession, he's very smart, and he looks damn good when he does it as well.
Now, what do you think Levin is thinking, knowing that he beat Nicholas? Because that's a formidable opponent, and the way that he did it. Yeah, the score was close, but he was in control of both of those legs. Do you think that's worrying Levin at all?
I'd like to think that Levin won't look at who Marcuzo's beaten, and in fact, Levin should be look at who he's beaten and how he got to this tournament. He had to go up against Ajax Tour during Manchester, and of course, Ajax Tour representing Ajax, Levin being an Ajax fan. It was kind of a grudge match. He won that one 4-1. He's got to this point. He looks confident, he looks amazing, and I think he could have a really good matchup against Marcuzo. Okay,
well, you heard from us about Levin, and now we're just speculating. Let's hear from the man himself. Check this out.
A great Champions League player is, I think, the players that step up in the big games.
Area's free, but it doesn't matter because Levin has found a way through the defenses here.
I'm one of the best because I built up a lot of experience in the last 2 years. I play so many events.
Here comes Levin now. Could he score the first goal? Yes, he has.
I think I can score goals. My defense is also good. I think I can slow the play down.
Here's Lev again. Oh no! Is he on for a hat-trick?
Stay positive is the biggest thing for me. I just always think if he can score 2 goals, I can do it as well.
He's having fun now. It's party time for the Dutchman. He's in Madrid. Congratulations, Levin.
I want to show the world what I can do.
Okay, so another interview where they're being humble. Dan, all things considered. I don't know. I guess maybe I'm expecting too much. They need a hype man. I'm here.
I mean, Jimmy, we won't talk about your age, but I mean, Levin, he's only 18 years old. We talk about Tex, we talk about Dull and Mike, how young they are. Levin's only a year older than them, and he's already so, just amazing in front of camera, amazing on the pitch. He has a very bright future ahead of him.
Well, another person who's amazing in front of the camera, it's Mike Labelle. He's got some more insight for us. Take it away, Mike.
I appreciate that hype man for hire, Jimmy. And we're going to get right into it. We're going to talk about Levin and his gameplay and what he does that's so special. And he's had great consistency this year. It's because he's balanced. He plays good defense. You saw he rates himself on the defensive end, but offensively, he has enough patience to make sure that he's able to attack his opponent in the right times and make sure he gets the attacking space. And that's what we're going to focus on here. We're going to see almost an unsung hero. It's a beautiful layoff to Cristiano Ronaldo. That's normal. However, we've got space to work with. It opens up for Sergio Ramos. Sergio Ramos is going to attack that space. That's his fullback. And he's going to make something happen here. He lays it off to Neymar on the near post. Easy finish for Neymar, but it all starts from Levin's patience. Almost everyone on the pitch touched the ball. Now on the reverse side, Marcuzo can be a little bit more wild. If you like skill moves, this is gonna be the game that you're gonna enjoy. We always talk about how good he is at utilizing the La Croqueta, which is a new skill move to FIFA 19. But I wanna take example, I wanna freeze frame right here to look at this example a little more depth. Most people, they see Ruud Gullit, they see Neymar, they're wide open. You're gonna make a pass this way, you're gonna make a pass that way. One of the two. However, when Marcuzo gets the ball there, he's thinking it's time for me to put on a show. I'm gonna introduce you to the La Croqueta, and he's really built his name this year as the year's gone on with this skill move. Not one, but a beautiful second La Croqueta, slots it home into the back of the net, and it's been something that he's been able to really grow into later in the season, and that's why he's building so much momentum. So we've seen what he can do on the virtual pitch. Let's see what Marcuzo has to say coming into the Madrid event.
ECL, I think you have to be very strong mentally, very strong. If you're not strong, you're not gonna go far.
Great first touch. Oh, how's he still got the ball? How has he done that?
Classic
Somehow.
Marcuzo.
My favorite skill move in FIFA 19 is La Croqueta.
Marcuzo, can he show us a bit of class now? A Croqueta or two, turns away from his man. Croqueta, again for Marcuzo!
It's very fast and you can change its direction very quickly, and no one can stop it, so yeah, I think I might be the best in the world.
Marcuzo, job done for him. He is in the form of his FIFA career at the moment.
I always try to be the best, I want to show him the best. But I mean, everyone have a chance at the tournament. It's like the 8 best players in the world who are there. So no matter what, it's going to be tough, but I feel very confident.
Don't forget that the eChampions League final will be broadcast live on Twitch on the EA Sports FIFA main account. And of course, May 31st is the date. You do not want to miss it because we've already hyped it up enough. I mean, it's going to be an absolutely phenomenal tournament. We've already spoke about 3 of the 4 matches, but of course there is still one more to talk about. Dr. Nightwatch going up against Alan Harvey. I mean, Mike, we spoke about why this is so important. What makes it a big game for you?
Well, because both of these guys were kind of unexpected. If you were making, let's say, a bracket of predictions of where you thought people were going to finish up, Alan Harvey would not be in anyone's bracket. And a lot of people will say the same with Nightwatch, and especially considering that he had to beat F2 Tex in order to claim that top 8 placement.
It's a very important matchup for both of them, and I think Jimmy has some special guests for us. So, Jimmy, what have you got over there?
So I have the distinct honor of speaking with a player who's very well known in the FIFA community. He's been doing it for many years, but his recent claim to fame is knocking out F2 Tex in Manchester, who is the most dominant player in FIFA 19 this season. And yes, I'm talking about Dr. Nightwatch. Just look at him here. I mean, most players are wearing a jersey when they take their photos. He's in a button-up because he is the doctor. He was excellent, surgical, if you will, in his execution in Manchester. Now he finds himself in Madrid, booking a ticket. He's with us now. Dr. Nightwatch, thank you so much for joining us. How are you, my friend?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
You know, I'm living the dream because I'm getting to talk to you. Now let's talk about momentum, okay? Because there was a lot of positive vibes surrounding you and your big win over F2 Tex to get to Madrid. How do you carry that now? Because Manchester was a few weeks ago, and now there's been a little lull, as it were.
Yeah, there has been. I mean, playing Tex is it's always going to be difficult. I was lucky that was the first time we matched up at an event and I could surprise him. Maybe in the future that's not going to be the case, as we've already seen. But, I mean, the hard part is done and the harder part is yet to come. So if I can perform the same way I did against Tex, I think I can do good.
No, I don't think anybody has any doubt about that. Now, talk to me about your preparation. A lot has been said about it. I know you take a lot of pride in it. And I know, as someone that's had a little bit of success in my previous career, that the magic is in the preparation. So do you think at times, though, you could overthink things and that your biggest strength is also your biggest weakness?
In a way, yes. That's what my coach has been telling me lately, that sometimes I overthink and over-preparate and maybe go out of my comfort zone to try and neutralize my opponent. Whereas if I just play my game, maybe I can do better. But it's about finding the balance and the perfect mixture between both. And I think if I can manage to do that against Avi and hopefully the opponents that follow, I can actually do good.
Well, I appreciate your optimism as always, Nightwatch, and we appreciate your time, of course, too. Don't go anywhere, though, because because we're going to come back to you after we talk to your competitor, Alan Avi. Now, Alan absolutely killed it in Manchester. He won 6 out of 7 games, and I think getting that loss is important because you taste a little bit of defeat. You understand what that feels like, and you don't want to feel like that ever again, and he proved that to great effect. So Alan joins us from Midland, Texas. How you feeling, Alan?
Oh yeah, I'm very happy. I'm doing good. First of all, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, like you said, I'm very happy to, that I had a good tournament representing North America.
Yeah, so talk to me a little bit about pressure. Are you feeling any because of your own personal expectations or anything attached to FC Dallas or EMLS?
So yeah, that pressure is always going to be there. Every competitor, even the Champions League players that play in the real life pitch, there's always going to be that pressure, whether it's playing for your fans, your team. But honestly, all of the experience that I have accumulated throughout all of the FIFA events that I have been playing in, it really has helped ease that pressure. So, I've just been doing my thing, practicing, warming up, and, trying to get ready for the big day.
Now, your competitor is very well known for preparing, so I'm sure he knows you inside and out. Do you have anything planned that might get into his head?
Yeah, I've also been taking a look at how Dr. Nightwatch plays, and I have seen him lurking around in my Twitch chat, probably watching my YouTube videos. He's been there watching my gameplay. But I can assure that when it comes to game day, I'm definitely going to mix up my game, play different, and, try to counter everything that he has against me.
Okay, well, I'm glad you brought up lurking because he's actually lurking on your interview as well. Let's bring Nightwatch back into this conversation. The two competitors battling it out in Madrid for a chance to go to the semifinals of the eChampions League. Now, Nightwatch, he's throwing a little heat at you for calling you out for doing your preparation by watching his Twitch stream. What do you say to that?
I mean, I'm a big fan. What can I say? I'm a fan of Alan Avi, so it's more a compliment than anything.
Okay, now Nightwatch, have you learned anything by what he's showing? Because I'm sure he's revealing some secrets to you on the stream.
No, I haven't learned anything. He is a complete mystery to me, and I have no idea how he plays.
Now, Alan, have you done any lurking on Nightwatch? Have you been going to watch any old videos or anything that he likes to do?
I actually have. I watched the Bucharest event. I saw him when he played F2 Tex. I must admit, he did get unlucky. Dr. Nightwatch did get unlucky. I thought he had him in the first game. He had a lot of chances that he should have buried. I did observe that game, but definitely took my notes while he played, that revenge against F2 Tex.
Now, of all the competitors that are left in this competition, both of you guys have been analysts. So you've been sitting on the couch or the desk with us. Nightwatch, how did you think Alan did? Do you think he's better at analyzing the game than you are?
I'd rather him be better at me at analyzing than playing, so let's say that I'll take that.
All right, and then Alan, this is the analyst derby. That's what we're calling it. How are you feeling about taking down Nightwatch?
I mean, yeah, like he said, he's also a great analyst as well, but I'm trying to get ready. It's going to be a very great battle. He's an analyst. I'm an analyst. Everybody's going to be observing this game from that point of view, like you said, the derby. But I'm going to give it on. Hopefully I come out big and victorious in that day,
All right, well, thank you guys for your time, and we look forward to seeing you in Madrid. And now we're going to throw it back to the desk.
The analyst derby. Been players, analysts, and now they're players again. But Mike, they said they were kind of watching each other's footage a little bit. They're researching. Would you say either of them has an advantage from what you heard there?
It's tough to say. We're not there inside their heads in terms of how they're really vibing, in terms of their mentalities. I will say, I think a lot of that's going to go out the door when you're there and everybody's watching you. It's on stream, a lot of energy in the room. There's a different type of energy playing at the eChampions League as well. I felt that when we were in Manchester, the vibe was a little bit different. And I'm sure it'll even be pushed to another level when we're in Madrid.
There's going to be so much pressure on both of these players. And I mean, if they are actually able to get through to the next round, they might be facing up against Joksan. Let's see how he did in Manchester.
This is the first ever eChampions League, and I wanted to take part in it. When I found out I was playing MS Asari in the round of 32, I knew he was the world champion from last year, but I didn't see it as a threat. I saw it more as a challenge.
The more that we're seeing these goals down, one thing we won't be seeing more of is MS Asari. He's gone.
I think you just have to be really patient versus playing against one of the best players in the world.
And Joksan's done it! What a comeback! Joksan is going to Madrid.
It's going to be intense.
I gotta love that energy from Joksan amongst all the players. He's got some pretty good energy, and I'm happy to be back on the desk with you guys. It's fun interviews, right? Analyst Darby?
I like that you were trying to stir the pot a little bit as well.
I was trying to do my best Spencer impression, but he's probably a little bit better at that, stirring the pot, than I am. Got some tips from him. All right, let's talk about predictions. We're gonna take a look again at this bracket, because before I get a winner from you guys, just tell me who you think is the favorite out of these 8, and then who's the dark horse.
The favorite definitely comes from the Marcuzo versus Levin matchup. Whoever wins that is going to be the favorite for the tournament, just because that's the most difficult matchup. If you were to ask anyone, that's the game that you're saying, okay, those guys have to be building momentum. Dark horse, Alan Aubie, no doubt about it. He's got the highest ranking, or the lowest ranking, however you want to say it. He's barely in the top 60. Everybody else is almost knocking on the door of being top 16 or better.
Okay, and then Dan, how about you? Favorite and dark horse?
My dark horse is probably going to be Dr. Nightwatch. I just love the way he analyzes the game and how he prepares. Favorite, I'm actually going to go for Levin. I think that he is my favorite for this tournament.
Okay, and now I'm going to really put you on the spot. Who do you think is going to win? Mike, I'll start with you.
Ooh. Oh.
They weren't ready for this one.
Look, that's fine. I'm going to go against the grain, because you're favored Levin to go the whole way.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go Marcuzo to go the whole way. I think he's been building momentum. He's going to do something crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to stick. I'll stick with Levin.
So we're all betting on that matchup.
He's my favorite, and I think he's going to win the whole thing.
Okay, now I'm going to go just with my heart. There's 3 Americans, and there's 1 Dane, and I have Danish blood. So those are my guys, and then I think one of them is going to win. I'm not giving any names. I'm sitting on
50% chance.
All right, guys, thank you so much for your time. This has been great to be able to do this. And for everybody at home, as a reminder, here are the important details that you don't miss. This whole special event that's going down in Madrid next week, May 31st, eChampions League final. It's the 8th. We're going to get it down to 1. The winner is going to go onto the field in Madrid for the Champions League final itself. Make sure you watch live on twitch.tv/EA Sports FIFA. So on behalf of me, and Dan, and Mike, and everybody here at EA, we thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in Madrid.